Welcome back to Hot Takes and Deep Dives. This is Jess, and I am here with my buddy, Dale Saylor. Hey, Dale.
Hey, Jess.
Welcome.
Thank you. Viva la diva.
Viva la diva. You're very formal today. So, guys, I wanted to hop on here. I actually was not planning on doing a second episode this week. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this out today, Friday, or into next week. I guess you'll find out when you listen to it, but last night was the RHONY finale, and I did get a number of messages from friends and, you guys DMing me, just like asking a lot of questions, like how was it that Hillary and I were at Luann's, like the rehearsal for F, Marry, Kill, and also the 15th anniversary of Married to the Mob, which was just the week before. So I invited my buddy Dale over because he is one of you.
It's true. Guilty.
He is one of you, and I get these questions right straight in my text messages from my little buddy over here.
Every Friday morning.
So I guess let's get your stats, baby. Let's introduce you to the crowd. What's your favorite franchise? Who are your favorite wives? Like, we need to make people love you before we.
RHONY is my favorite. We live in New York. I feel like I know those women. I've always known those women. That's kind of my number one. Number two, I will tell you, was Beverly Hills for a very long time. Lately, Beverly Hills has been pissing me off so much that I have to say I think Potomac has shot up into number two. And I think then it's kind of an Atlanta, Beverly Hills tie for third. Yeah.
And just over the longevity speaking, who do you think, who are your favorite housewives? Because I know you rewatch. You're like me and rewatch a ton.
Serious research. Favorite housewives, I think for what she was at the time, Nene in her early days delivered. She was good. I think now she's over it and it shows and it drags the franchise down, but she was good when it was good. Kim was also good when it was good. I love the two of them together.
Kim Zolciak
for sure. I think Ramona was better in the beginning than she is now, but I still enjoy her. I'm loving Leah a lot. Mm-hmm. I also think Giselle from Potomac is messy.
I love her.
But good.
She was born to do this.
Amazing.
In a similar way that Leah
Not
was
born to decorate homes. But
so speaking of that, so you're an interior designer. Is there a broader term?
Yeah, so I own my husband and I own a design build business. We do residential design, commercial design, and we also have a fabrication studio where we build a lot of large installations for events and parties and decor and things like that. So we do kind of like a full range of design services, and nothing to do with Bravo.
Right. And I often get texts from you saying we need to talk about Giselle's house and just all that. Well, you have a lot of issues just with the homes in Potomac.
The homes are rough, and I don't get it because it's such a great franchise. All the women are fantastic. They're gorgeous. They are great on camera. The stories are great. And they go back to those houses and it's like Karen's white kitchen and Robin in that townhouse. Just come on. You've been on for long enough. You're making the money. Mm-hmm. Step it up.
Which of the following could it be? Number one, they don't have the money to actually invest in great furniture because they're not getting paid that much. Potomac is one of the, they probably have one of, I would imagine Potomac and Dallas have the lower budgets across the franchise. And so I would just imagine that they're not getting paid really all that much. Or do you think that they have interior designers, but those interior designers just have bad taste?
I think it might be somewhere in the middle. I don't know if they're hiring people. It doesn't look like they've hired people to do that. Uh-huh. Everyone wants to believe they have good taste. No one wants to be told they need help. And I think, when we get clients, I think they reach out, whether it's referral from somebody else or projects they've seen of ours that we've done, or, however they come to us. There's always sort of a little moment of admitting, I can't do this on my own. And I don't think a lot of people like to admit that. And I think, I don't know, I think they really can't do it on their own.
Yeah. Do you like Bethany's house? Her apartments and her Hamptons house?
I do. They're a little blah. I think Carol had a great apartment. I think her apartment had some,
with those stairs.
Yeah,
with no railing.
I thought she didn't have kids. It's okay. And she had Lee Radziwill's sofa, for God's sakes. I mean, the sofa to end all sofas. I mean, that I think was a pretty good apartment. Bethany's is okay.
How do you say it's just okay? Wait, which apartment are you thinking of?
The last one, the one with the huge glam room and all the Restoration Hardware furniture.
Right.
It's okay. I mean, she had a designer. She had,
you know what I didn't like in that apartment? The fact that she painted those pillars black.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
I loved her Mercer Street apartment, 250 Mercer.
Yes.
Or 22 Mercer,
22,
whatever. 22.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that apartment.
Yeah, it's we ironically did the lobby of 250 Mercer.
Oh, you did?
We did. Yeah.
That's funny.
We designed that. Yeah, that apartment was actually better. I think the space there was something really awkward about this apartment. Remember, it had the really high windows in the bedroom. Those little like cave windows that she camouflaged with the drapes. And I was like, for all that money, there isn't a better window scenario. It felt really awkward. And the closet felt awkward. And it was all really built out and custom. And she spent a lot of money and you could tell. But like then there was that bar. And remember when she put it on the market, Frederick was like, get the bar out of here. And it's like, yeah, I agree. Like adults shouldn't have bars like that.
The main issue with that apartment, and to be honest, I did tell this story.
Are we on a weird tangent right now?
No, this isn't. I mean, we're getting to the point.
We're getting there.
But I think this is interesting. So, do you know that I was in that apartment?
The latest one?
Bethany, the 22 Mercer.
Oh, 22 Mercer, really?
I told the story. I started this Patreon, but then it was just too stressful for me. But I told the story on there how I got myself and Hillary into that apartment when it was on the market. Frederick showed us the apartment.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So I literally was in there and I critiqued the entire thing for Frederick. I was like, Frederick, you're listing this at like 5.25, and I like ripped it apart. You know, it's gorgeous, but like it had major flaws.
Yeah.
The least of which is that the view is of a Foot Locker, like in Soho.
Yeah, that's rough.
But literally, you saw it all the time. When the minute you walk in the apartment, the master bedroom is immediately on your right.
Didn't she also have an office? Wasn't Skinny Girl in that apartment, or was that a different apartment? Remember, she had an office right there.
That she rented another office space, like also in Soho.
Oh, I thought she had an apartment at one point with Skinny Girl offices in it. I remember that rental on Renwick from Bethany Getting Married.
That was Bethany Getting Married.
But I thought when she bought one of the super apartments, I thought she had Skinny Girl offices. I could be mixing them up. Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember the master was right off the entry, and that felt really odd. But it's pretty. I think, for what it is, I think it's it's better than Ramona. I mean, that apartment's rough. The one that she sold, that she redid herself, quote unquote.
What were the issues with that?
Well, I mean, she just bought all this stuff online, and I think she admitted that. She's like, I did it all myself. I didn't use a decorator. I bought everything online. She had Jill Zarin's rugs.
Mm-hmm. And all those women, they love promoting the Jill Zarin's
Which I got to say, we are using them for our client right now.
Are you really?
Because they come in odd sizes, and there are a ton of patterns. So yeah, we do use a Jill Zarin rug now and then.
That's amazing.
The client actually said, when I sent them the link to it, they said, we love this rug and we love Jill Zarin. So I was like, well, good thing you hired us.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I think Carol was, I would say, maybe my favorite. I like Dorinda's house upstate. We have a house upstate not far from her, and I know where her house is, and I think it's a beautiful house. A lot of the colors a little much for me, but the home itself I think is really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, let's get into these past couple episodes and the filming, and then I do have more interior design questions for you. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna allow you to just you be the audience, just ask me whatever you want to know.
I have so much.
Okay, I mean, to lay the groundwork. So in the finale, it was Luann's rehearsal of the F, Marry, Kill. So there was that. The week before, I was at the 15th anniversary Married to the Mob party. And if you have other random questions about much earlier in the season, I did a little thing at that comedy show, which I already dedicated an episode to that. I don't really want to go too into that. And then I, of course, was at the very first, the Countess and Friends, the one where it was a full cast event.
Iconic.
That was truly iconic. So
The Giovanni night.
So yeah, so let's start with the 15th anniversary Married to Them, these last two episodes.
Yeah.
So just
how did you get these invitations? How do you become a seat filler for Bravo?
It's such a good question. I know. So typically, the people who are at things like this, generally speaking, they are fans of the show, just like you and I, who have a connection of some sort. So my connection is I do this podcast, and I had another podcast. So I've been doing this for a while, and you may have recognized other people in that room who are other podcasters or people who have like these popular Bravo fan accounts. And so you become friendly and you network with people I'm talking about specifically for New York. I don't know anything about filmings for other cities. This is simply like New York, where like they really are filming in these public places and they need to fill it with people. They're not at homes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for Luann's, for the F, Marry, Kill, I interviewed Ben Rimmelauer, who is Luann's cabaret director. You know, he's been like all over, you know. We became friendly over the last year and a half, and we text, and literally he just texted me. He was like, hey, would you like to come to this? It was like a week in advance, and I was like, I will be there.
So do you think they have like a quota? Like they kind of plan it out, like we need 100 people to fill this venue to get it to look full. I
don't know about that. I think they literally just want bodies in the room.
Interesting.
I think there's always the risk of there not being enough people than there being too many people.
So they want it to seem popular.
Well, for this, like the rehearsal, like you had to fill the room, and it was very small. So
where was that held?
So it was at this place called Carol Music Studios. It was this weird, it's basically this music rehearsal space, and you can also like rent rooms to like rehearse in. It was in Hell's Kitchen, like all the way on the west side in the 50s. And that it is interesting to see how in New York they film at all these like far-flung places.
Those venues for parties and all the...
It's just wherever they can get a filming like permit or a filming like okay. Whereas the Married to the Mob party was at this venue...
In Meatpacking, right?
Yeah, I forget if it was in Meatpacking. No, I feel like it was more like in Soho.
Oh, okay.
It was like down. It was like further down.
Further downtown.
Almost on the border of Tribeca.
Oh, okay.
It was like downtown. So yeah.
Luann loves going downtown.
She loves going downtown.
It's so downtown.
Yeah. I will say, so for that Married to the Mob party, I had heard from somebody, like once I had gotten in there, somebody said like, oh, I saw Dorinda and Luann fighting down the street. So it was funny to me that they didn't include that. Or like maybe there weren't even cameras on them. Who knows? Like, I don't know. But
like if a fight happens and there's no camera.
Does it happen?
I
know. I know. Isn't that funny?
That's crazy. Yeah. So there was action off camera.
There was action off camera.
That's good to know though, because I will say those events feel very produced, and I can kind of smell through my television how fake they are.
They're produced in the sense that, for New York, they're produced in the sense that there are so many lights up. Like they have to light this entire thing. You can't play real music. Like anytime you see a party, there's literally there's music playing, but it's like ambient, like weird, just licensed
music sort of. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's only once the things stop filming that they can actually put on like whatever it's going to be, Rihanna, Justin Timberlake, like whatever. I heard that at Dorinda's Berkshire house, they literally built like in the rafters of the house, the entire thing is lit like a set.
I'm sure. Well, wasn't that the whole drama with Ramona pulling those lights down?
That was part of it.
They were production lights. They weren't like decorative sconces
but
that
like
Dorinda
in her living room, because that house is so big and like literally could be you could film a movie in that house.
Yeah.
They built like into the ceiling.
Yeah. Oh, and no more.
I know. R.I.P.
Although I really think you mentioned this already in your last episode.
That she could do it.
They could come back as a friend and it's her in. I think that would be good.
Yeah. Or just like an annual like Berkshire's trip.
Yeah.
What else can I tell you? So tell me what else you want to know.
So how produced were they? I mean, was there like action sort of? I mean, was it? Did you feel like producers were like kind of guiding a story and like
not at all,
no coaching, no sort of like, hey, go talk to so and so, or like shuttling the women off together to kind of confab about blah blah, or they sort of naturally?
It's very natural.
Really?
Not at all. I've never seen production interfere the way in which they've shown on Beverly Hills. And I think it's because I truly believe at this point that Beverly Hills is soft scripted to some degree, whereas New York, it's pretty much what you see is what you get. Like their personalities are strong enough to carry an entire show. I don't think there needs to be as much production interference. The producers are sort of just like in the wings. At least in New York, the things that I've been at, they're in the wings. Even like the camera people are like a little bit in your face because like they're holding equipment. It was really only that first 54 Below Countess and Friends thing where I like literally did not see cameras. I was like, where are the cameras? I was like so impressed by like how discreet that whole thing was produced.
Right.
Every other subsequent filming I went to, the cameras are like, I mean, they could like hit you in the head if you're like not paying attention. Like you could walk into something. No, not
because I think in all of those events, didn't they had like their event or their comedy or whatever they did, and then there was always sort of a moment where the women were together talking,
like mingling.
It felt like, oh, isn't that convenient? You know, kind of at the end, it was a formula. It happened the same way for
probably a
all
formula
of those.
that has to happen.
Yeah. Because I think at the event last night, the cabaret performance, they went backstage. It sort of felt like.
Oh, okay. So I was trying to get into that room. So after the thing, well, let me walk through the detail, the bullet points of what I remember from this night. And then I'll tell you about the backstage. I was like creeping about, like trying. I'm like, where they all go? Before we left, Hillary was like, "Can we get the fuck out of here?"
So they did herd them back there because they had to get the story going. So
okay. So basically, somebody had asked me like just like what the overall like rules are for these filmings, and basically, you sign a release and they like take your picture. As far as filming rules go, listen, the only instruction that I was ever given was at that comedy show, Luann's comedy show, much earlier in the season. I did get an email while filming was taking place that said, whatever you do on stage, do not mention Housewives or Bravo. Like, just don't acknowledge that this is a TV show. And I mean, Jesus, they're really bending that rule these days. So I will say, these two events, the Married to the Mob Party and the F, Marry, Kill cabaret rehearsal, these things were like 1 week apart. This was in December, obviously, because like it's like Christmas, everything on the show, and they were like within a week and a half of each other. For the cabaret, we literally just went up into this Carol Music Studios. We waited there. There were so few people at this. I mean, you could see
it was like two rows. Yeah, it was tiny.
So we were direct. So remember, like I went in, said hi to Ben, and then they made me and a couple of other people redo our entrance. They were like, would you guys mind? They pulled a few people who I think they knew were like down for whatever, like excited, to be
in on it.
They're like in on it. Like, would you mind just like, we just need to get your entrance. So that's why you literally see me walking into the like full body in like my coat, like walking into the room. They made us redo that. I remember at that comedy show at the beginning of the season, they made Tinsley do her entrance like 3 times. Same thing with Jacques.
Was his comedy as bad as it looked on TV?
Like worse.
It translated so terribly and it looked so painful.
That whole night was painful.
Yeah, they all looked pretty bad.
It was just painful for me for a lot of ways. It was just a lot.
So tell me about the women. Like did they all come individually? Do you think they had like call time? Like how did they all get into their places? Like how did that all?
They all just like came in when they arrived.
They did.
Actually, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm remembering now when we got in that room in the front row, like in the row right in front of us, there were 4 seats, like 4 or 5 that had fur coats. So we were like, oh, clearly this is like, and in fact, I remember one of the people who was nearby was like, you want to play Name That Fur? And people were like, oh, like that's Leah. That's going to be Dorinda. We didn't know Dorinda wasn't going to be there. Like, that'll be Sonia. And like, it was just fun. And then they literally were like, we knew they would be right in front of us because like, that's where the coats were.
That was the placeholder.
That's
pretty good.
Leah's sister. Okay. So I had met her literally like a week and a half prior.
Still auditioning. She wants an apple so badly, and I'd kind of give it to her maybe, or at least half an apple.
She's too messy, and here's why. So
really,
I had a lot of interaction with her at the Married to the Mob Party. She was like all over me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, but she was also like drunk and high and like
Yeah.
I don't know what else was going on.
Typical
like,
young mother.
But you can okay, so at
Like
that
all
point,
moms.
So at that point, obviously, I don't know that she has a newborn.
Right.
Okay. So cut to like the next week. I'm like, oh, my girlfriend is here. Like, so she sees me and she's like, oh my God, like gives me a big hug. Like she's like loving on me again. And so I was like, what's your story? And then she told me she lives in Williamsburg, and she like kind of like whispered to me that like she's like, I have a 5-month-old.
Like keep it on the DL. I have a baby.
Well, I don't know what. Well, now I don't understand why it was such a secret because like
it's the first thing she said, isn't it, or
it's
the first thing Leah said?
But I don't know why she was so.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was just interesting. This filming went on for a lot longer than first of all, she performed Viva La Diva. Like these women have heard this song performed live like multiple.
So she did an actual cabaret show.
She did Viva La Diva. So like at that finale party, they had already heard this shit. Like they had already heard it.
Let's be real.
Have you seen the music video?
No.
Okay, the music video, they've took so many elements. You know, in the Justify My Love, you're a huge Madonna
Yes.
fan, was I? So okay, you know, all roads, all roads.
They always do.
All
yes.
roads. So they clearly like took all these different elements from like different things. So like she's performing it at literally at 54 below in the video in one vignette, and then in another vignette she's in a hallway. It's black and white in a hallway.
At the Chateau Marmont.
in a trench coat.
Oh no.
And it's shot in black and white. And everyone online is like, why is she in that hall? I don't think I have not seen one person make the connection that like, guys, they're doing an homage to Justify My Love. And she said in an interview that it's her apartment hallway.
When the budget's low
and it's quarantine, baby.
and it's quarantine, you make a video wherever
and
you
you
can.
can't get a filming permit, you do it at home.
That good for her. She's resourceful. Not a vocalist, but she's resourceful.
Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
I know, I love that.
That's really awesome. So she did a full show.
It was like 40 minutes.
Were there guests or no? It was just her alone?
Just Sonia got up there.
Yeah.
No guests. It was bad, I have to say. Like, so this whole concept of the F, Marry, Kill, they had these, there were screens, which I don't think they showed. Was there, I don't remember. I like sort of blacked out.
There was a screen to the side that just said Countess and Friends, F, Marry,
oh my
Kill,
God.
and that's all it was.
They cut the entire purpose of this fucking thing.
They didn't even show the performance to speak of, really.
Okay, so basically, I think the concept of this F, Marry, Kill, if it ever comes to fruition, what we all saw was basically on these video screens, it was simulating like a slot machine. So it'd be like F, Marry, Kill. So you'd have a picture of like Jacques, Harry Dubin, and like someone else. And
Red
they'd,
Scarf
like,
Guy.
Pull the left. I literally, Red Scarf Guy was one of them. Yes.
It's like I was there.
For real. It's like you were there. Literally. And they're like, okay, like, you hit it, like whatever, like the dude that's operating the laptop like hits refresh. This went on for like 5 rounds, and it's like how many? It was just really boring. I mean, it's exciting. Somebody was saying like, is it exciting? Is it fun? It's really exciting to be there, to be at a filming. Like it's just a heightened reality. Like you're at a television taping, but oftentimes, with the exception of the first Countess and Friends, which literally is one of the greatest nights of my life. Like I had a moment with Bethany.
That's
like,
on a different level.
Literally,
that's not a rehearsal in Hell's Kitchen for this.
Like Jake Shears performed "Let's Have a Kiki."
Wow.
Which they had to cut out because they couldn't get the music rights. So like real, like Bridget Everett performed, like real stuff was going on there. This, and also like the comedy show too, it's boring.
Was it a lot of stopping and starting, or was it pretty much like
no stopping and starting?
Like they taped what happened and that was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. The Married to the Mob party, on the other hand, was way fun.
So that felt like an authentic party.
It felt like an authentic party. That was the most authentic of these 3 things that I'm talking about. That was the most authentic real life experience of the 3. Because once they stopped filming, I've said this before, like the lights go down, the real music comes on, and like Luann, Dorinda, Leah, they were all like vaping. Like I've told the story, like Sonia famously spilled a bottle of vodka on me, and like I like reeked of like vodka, like my clothes, I had to burn them.
So she was that messy.
like so much worse than like you think.
Because she was looking rough on the episode. By the time the after party came, it was even...
She was wasted.
So tell me about
trying to fuck
Ramona.
those guys.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So tell me about Ramona and her big exit. Did you even see Ramona?
What big exit? My God. No, I didn't even know Ramona was there.
So it really happened that fast because it was just a matter of her coming down the steps, picking the fight, then leaving. It was quick.
So before, like, I saw Dorinda come in. The only person who was there when I got there was Leah. And also her, Rob, her baby daddy, he had to do, like, they're like, oh, like on the radio, like, oh, Rob's approaching, like Rob's coming in. So, can you imagine? So
he, by the way, seems like he hates this.
He seems like the most normal guy, like in New York City.
Very normal, and get that camera out of my face. Like, he just does not.
I like him.
He even say at the Halloween party, I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing this much longer, or something, like alluding to, like, he was like, I'm leaving really quickly.
He was like, how did I get here?
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah. And I can't imagine that he had to sign on to do this. I mean, he's kind of a bonus with Leah.
He's good.
But it's like he really does not seem happy.
I think he's fine. He's fine. Listen,
don't worry about Rob, you're saying?
I think he's really successful. Like, he has his own streetwear company. I forget the name of it. He told me the name of it that night. I literally went in one ear and directly out the other. I don't remember the name of it.
So did you get the sense that Married to the Mob was like a real brand? Like I'm assuming production paid for the party.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay.
Like, did you really sense it was like?
I don't think. If Leah were not on Housewives, I don't think there would be a 15th anniversary Married to the Mob party where her mom would be giving a speech. Like, Leah would be back at her WeWork office with that rented Jonathan Adler furniture.
Yes, printing sweatshirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you, Leah.
I love you, Leah. No, I love you, like, beyond. Like, please come over. Like, let's go out. Like, I love you.
Coming next week. So how late were you there? Was it like an all-nighter?
I didn't get home till after, like, 12:30.
And was it still going when you left, or was it wrapping up?
It was pretty much wrapping up. I mean, at this point, like, I had the vodka spilled. I was like...
cameras were done, though.
Cameras were done for at least an hour by the time I left.
Okay.
I never saw Ramona. That was... I saw that.
You saw her on TV?
On TV. I was like, I didn't even know this bitch was there. I must have been at the bar. Like, it's probably just blink and you miss it, you know? This I want to say. So you know how there was a huge deal made last night that Ramona wasn't at the F, Marry, Kill rehearsal?
Because she can't open attachments.
Yeah.
Which I believe fully, by the way.
Ramona was not there because she was at a paid appearance in Florida with Dolores Catania.
Juicy.
And I know this because I remember being aware that this other event was going on in Florida. It was one of those celebrity housewives things. Like Teresa always does them.
Kelly Dodd's done them, I think.
Kelly Dodd. They're like Q&As, and Sonia does a ton of them. And this is something that gets booked like at least 2 months in advance.
I've been to one, by the way.
Really?
Yes. In Atlantic City, New Jersey, with Luann, Cynthia Bailey, Vicky, and Caroline Manzo.
Look at
a long time ago.
How the fuck did you wind up in Atlantic City?
I took a bus. It was juicy.
Wait, this is amazing info. When was this?
Well, Caroline Manzo was on the show. It was a long time ago. You know what? It was right after Beverly Hills had started, because we was talking to them about Beverly Hills, and it was around the time of Russell's suicide, and so it was like that. It was that long ago. It was 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago.
Oh my God! And like, what do you remember?
It was good. It was a panel. They sat on stage. It was very canned. Like, you could tell it felt very forced. And Luann talked a lot, to the point of people were sort of like, please stop talking. Please stop talking. But it was interesting seeing housewives cross over from other cities. Like, that was, the dynamic was really interesting.
Like, would BravoCon be a thing that you would want to go to?
I didn't go. Isn't that weird?
No, I know you didn't go, but like in theory.
No, I haven't. See, and even that kind of thing. I like my housewives at a distance. I like the screen of my television as my barrier, where I can just sit down, have a drink, and watch my show. I don't want to pay thousands of dollars to stand in line with a bunch of people to get Tamara's autograph on a baseball or something. Like, that doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
You know, and even meeting them, I mean, I feel like I've met a lot of them just throughout the years in random places in New York City. And it's typically a letdown. It's usually it's okay, but there have been some rather rude ones where I'm just like, this wasn't fun.
I find that as time has gone on, I'm becoming. I think I was way more enamored with it all, like at the beginning, of like being a fan of all of this. Like I wanted nothing more in life than to go to Jill Zarin's party, and I went, and it was like the highlight of my life. And Luann's cabaret was the highlight of my life.
Party.
Yeah. And I did all that stuff, and it's super fun. But then, I don't know, you just like see the people, just like all kind of like, is this embarrassing?
It takes the shine off of it, I think. It's like, because to me it happens in my mind, and I also feel like I'm kind of in on the joke. I don't think some people are in on the joke. Like, I will say one thing about that Housewives Live thing I saw in Jersey. There were girls there who were auditioning. They were done up in lashes and heels. They wanted to be the next Bethany. They wanted to be discovered. And it was really painfully obvious.
That is literally like what Ramona was doing that night. So that's all like pre-planned. They're selling tickets. They're booking flights. It's so I wonder if that was a whole production thing. The fact that she wasn't there and like the faux outrage at her not being, it's like, I find it highly implausible that she texted Luann. Although maybe she did. Who knows? I don't know.
She's also such a mess that maybe...
That's a question I would have to ask Ben Rimmelauer. Like, did you know exactly which housewives would be there and at how far in advance?
Yeah.
What did you think of Dorinda's last scene?
Dorinda had the weight of the world on her shoulders this season. I think she really felt like she had to deliver it. And I think she just went way too far. And I think it felt forced. It felt like, what a ridiculous thing to blow up about. And I don't remember in the 10,000 seasons of these shows being on, do they ever wrap a season on a fight like that?
I know.
I mean, it'll be a group hug. It'll be somebody's annoyed at somebody, blah, blah, blah. But that's like a mid-season moment. And then to end on that was very strange. And then to have her not even be coming back, it's like there's no closure. It was a strange thing.
I don't think she ever expected that to see the light of day.
I also don't think she expected to be fired.
Yeah.
But I think it was a really strange ending. And I don't know if it was chosen that way on purpose or if it really happened that way.
I think they're trying really hard to keep breaking this fourth wall.
Yeah.
And I think this was something really juicy and really like worthy of being shown.
Yeah.
Because this shows you really who this woman is. And where some of the stuff in Beverly Hills, like the stuff with Garcelle, it really like left me a little icky. I mean, Denise, show it to me all day, every day. But like, I don't like to see producer interference, but I do want to see the bravo, bravo, bravo.
Yes,
there's a difference. There's really a difference.
There is a difference.
I don't want to see the manipulation.
Right.
That's like gross to me. Don't show me that, because then you're ruining the entire.
But breaking
thing.
The wall.
Yeah, show me things that the women don't want shown.
Right.
But don't show me where you're like making your own production team look bad.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, that's icky. I totally agree. No, this felt like it was definitely a fourth wall moment. That's true. And they do seem to be doing that a lot lately across all the
They're kind of trying to keep it. They're trying to keep it fresh.
I guess they do what they have to do.
So for interior design, what would you say are like the most common mistakes, or maybe you can give like, what is the best piece of advice you can think of to sort of step up like your home or your apartment?
So one thing we always really encourage clients to do is really think kind of beyond the catalog. If you love Restoration Hardware, if you love Pottery Barn or Ballard or any of these brands, don't buy everything there. I mean, it's great to buy one thing from there, a couple things from there. Don't make your house look like a showroom. I think that's a really big mistake, because people often don't know what to do, and they see a picture and they're like, oh, that looks great together, and they just tend to buy everything or close to it. If they can't buy the actual items, they'll kind of style it like that. And I think that's kind of a mistake. Spaces have to have some personality to them. They have to feel like things you've collected from travels, things, photos, frames, things need to be mixed up. They need to be layered. I think it's another mistake people do. They don't layer anything. They have a sofa. And it's like, well, think about that sofa, put a throw on the back, put pillows on it, think about it beyond just the piece of furniture. It's all about kind of the texture and the layers, adding a sheepskin, adding, leather pillows, like adding sort of more to it. I think that really helps round out a space and feel a little more complete. And a lot of times people just are so happy to get the sofa. They kind of lose steam and stop, you know?
Final question for you is, what do you say to people who say New York is dead?
I don't think it's dead. I think it's evolving and there's a change happening. I think it was sleeping for a while, but I'll definitely say it's waking up. I think having restaurants on the street is helping. I think getting gyms reopened, having schools reopened, I think all of these sort of, you know, functions sort of happening again are kind of enlivening the city. I think it's going to be a very different city. I don't think it's by any means dead. I think it's just evolved and it's changed, and it's kind of a new way of looking at the city.
I mean, I think they're going to have to, for like Broadway, for example, they're going to have to, have you heard anything about how they're going to have to rip out all the seats? Like how are they going to put on a show? Like if it has to be far less seats in the room, do you know what's going to happen for all those theaters?
I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, I would assume they would. Don't you think they would just reserve like every fifth seat or something?
Oh,
like
maybe.
when they do the seating chart or seating, you know, options, you don't have every option.
Yeah, you're right.
So they would just hold spaces between your party. But I just think of the revenue that's going to lose. I mean, they have to. I mean, Broadway is such a business. They have to make a certain dollar amount. Every seat is a certain dollar amount, and to have 50% of them empty has got to be a huge blow to their bottom line.
Theater will be back. They're saying like spring 2021. So we shall see. This has been so fun. Did you enjoy yourself?
Thank you. This was awesome. Yes.
Okay.
This is the role I was born to play.
And if people want to ask you like interior design questions, like what's your Instagram for your company?
Our company Instagram is at Hollymount Ltd. HOLLYMOUNT Ltd.
And you are Dale.
And I'm Dale, and you can find us on there.
Perfect. Dale, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jess.
Guys, you can follow me, JessXNYC, follow the show account, Hot Takes Deep Dives. And if you have more questions, just DM me and I will be happy to answer. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Thanks.